Welcome back, everybody. It's time once again for another episode of Living Hope, a weekly journey designed to provide hope, inspiration, and education for those living with pancreatic cancer, sharing the real-life stories of those really affected by this deadly disease and how they deal with it on a daily basis. With your host, the host has dealt with it for a little while here pretty well, 20 years and counting, Roberta Luna.
Good morning, Paul. How are you?
I'm excited because for a long time, I know that when you get the diagnosis, I can imagine your head is spinning and you think, I'll try anything. I'll try experimental drugs. I'll try standing on my head and with one leg. I'll do anything if it might help. And there are a lot of alternative theories out there, some of which probably are kind of crazy, some of which actually bring people relief and comfort here. You're going to talk about one of those today.
Yes, we are, because like you said, it's something important to give these resources out, and I've tried some of these things, so I want to be able to share that. And excuse me, today I'm very excited to have Jennifer Garrepy with us, joining us today. She has many years of healing touch and Reiki, and she's an experienced Reiki master, which she's going to tell us what all this is and how the difference is between the healing touch that she does as well as that.
And again, you're saying you make sure there's a disclaimer, we're not endorsing or coming out with anything here, simply a presentation of ideas that people might want to select from. And you're going to talk today. You actually went and tried this too.
Yes,
yourself.
she was kind enough to give me a session to see what I thought before we came. So I'm very thankful for that. And actually, I'm very want to really give this out because I was really impressed with what I went through. So, Jennifer, thank you for coming today. And can you tell us and explain to us exactly what it is and the difference between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to the National Cancer Institute website, you'll see that it talks about energy healing, energy therapy, and it says that it's a form of complementary medicine. It's based on a belief that there is a vital energy that flows through the human body. And I like to tell people that it's a good metaphor is like when you're in traffic, right? When you're on the freeway, and sometimes the traffic is moving great and you're having a good day, you're not late, and other times there's a traffic jam and you're cursing. Well, that traffic jam is the same thing that can happen with your energy flow in your body. It can get congested. And when it gets congested, it can't flow to the rest of the body in an equal manner, and you suffer then in those other parts of the body. And so what energy healing does is it helps to clear any congested areas of energy in your body, and then it helps to balance your energy throughout the body. And then also really importantly, it helps to strengthen that energy flow so that you have the best possible energetic system to help your body self-heal. And as far as the difference between Reiki and healing touch, I think they're like different ways of looking at the energetic system in the body. And nobody knows 100%, why everything works in the world, right? Nobody. Like, we don't even know why medicine works, right? And so with Reiki, it's based more on the Indian system of the chakras, and also the meridians. And with healing touch, it's similar, but it's just like that old thing, that old metaphor, like when your eyes are closed and you're touching an elephant, and somebody touches the ear of the elephant, and somebody touches the leg of the elephant, and they have totally different experiences, but it's still the elephant. So I just view it as really different ways of approaching the energetic system in the body.
Can you explain a little bit for those of us that don't know, like what do you mean by chakra and
Oh yeah, of course. So a chakra is, it actually means like wheel of light in Sanskrit. And we have a chakra at every joint in our body, and we also have 7 major chakras. One is at the root, one is at the sacral area, one is at the solar plexus, and the solar plexus area is actually a very good area to work on for cancer in the immune system. And then you have your heart chakra, your throat chakra, your brow, and your crown. And what these chakras do is they spin, and they are taking the energy from God, if you believe in God, or the universal energy field, and they're taking that energy and transmuting it into the body. And so that's where we get that energeticness from, if you will. And each chakra corresponds to a different part of the body, a different organs, and also different parts of our being. So, for example, your sacral chakra is focused on your emotional state, and your solar plexus is focused on your mental state. So they all have different properties, if you will. But the basic idea is that you want them spinning at a higher frequency.
And the touch or what you do that causes that to happen?
Exactly. So when you're a healing practitioner, you are able to you are able to dial up, so to speak, your energetic system so that you're at a higher frequency. We're all these energetic beings, and quantum physics says, hey, we're all made of energy. And so when you are a practitioner and you're vibrating, so to speak, which sounds, I know, kind of weird, but you're raising your frequency, if you think of it like that, like a sound frequency, right? That's probably easier to understand and doesn't sound so bizarre. When you raise your frequency, then there's a concept in physics also called entrainment. And entrainment means that somebody else near you is going to sync up to your frequency. And so if my frequency is higher than your frequency by being in the session, your frequency level is going to rise to my level. And that is what is going to help balance, clear, and strengthen your energetic system.
And why did you choose this path? What got you into doing this?
Yeah, well, I had never heard of these things. I had a very traditional upbringing. And what happened was that I was in a couple car accidents, and I had this really horrible neck pain, and it wouldn't go away with traditional therapy. And the therapy I had was great. It's not to knock traditional therapy. I believe that, again, that all these things work together, right? I had chiropractic, I had massage, but it wasn't helping. I had physical therapy. So I started venturing a little bit more into more complementary medicine. And that's when finally that pain started to go away. And so that's what started to intrigue me about, ooh, there's something else out there.
Oh, very interesting. And then how did you train? Did you go to a school, or how do you train to do this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I started off learning Reiki, and there are plenty of places where you can learn how to do Reiki. Obviously, some places are better than others, but there's no school. Like, you don't go to university, right? They just don't have these schools. So you learn from a practitioner, and you study under them. And then after I learned Reiki, then I heard about healing touch, and healing touch really fascinated me. So I started studying that. And healing touch has two divisions, if you will. One is healing touch for animals that came out of the original, which was healing touch for people. And so with healing touch for people, I studied both, and I started with the animals. I love working with animals, have a huge heart for animals, and then I moved on and started studying additional techniques that work on people but not on animals.
And I'm just a little curious, the difference on how do you do an animal versus a human?
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I can't explain why this is true, but the advantage to start studying with animals as a practitioner is that all the techniques for animals work on people, but the people techniques don't work as well on the animals. And it has something to do with the frequency and with the energy field of an animal. So an animal has a very large energetic field because they don't have the same mental and emotional barriers that we do. So their energy field is huge. And so it's a different experience working on an animal energy system than it is working with a person.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'd almost be wanting to let you try it on my dog Miko, my tripod. She's a tripod, so I might have to get you to do something with her and see what we can do. But so, how would I prepare for a session, or what can I expect when I go in?
Yeah. So there's a couple ways you can have a session. One is you can be in person, and the other, which I think is totally fantastic also, is that you can have a remote session. So I have clients that, for example, that I have never met that live in different areas, but it works the same because energy is energy, and just like the sun's energy reaches us here on Earth millions of miles away, so can my energy connect with your energy in a different location. So what you would do is, if, for example, if you had a session, you typically would lie on, if you're able to, again, all these things can be adjusted for people that have issues, but if you're able to, you lie on a massage table, you're fully clothed, you're made comfortable. If you are cold, blanket, there's something under your knees. You might be lying on your back, you might be lying on your stomach. And then to prepare for the session, I advise people to drink a lot of water. Water is a great conductor of electricity. Our bodies are electrical beings. Your neurons in your head, well, everywhere, your neurons, they're firing electrical impulses. Your heart is electrical. So the more water you have in your body, the better conductor of that electricity that you are. And I just tell people to wear loose clothing because you don't want to be lying there and be uncomfortable.
Yes.
Right? And that's pretty much it. There's nothing really else that you need to do to prepare except have an open mind and relax and just enjoy the experience. When people fall asleep, it works fine if you fall asleep.
Yes, I did. I think
You did.
But so I'm a little curious then, because having been able to have the experience, which I appreciate you gave that to me. But if you're doing it virtually, are you on Zoom or on the phone, or how does that work if it's a virtual, not in person?
Yeah, that's a great question. I prefer to be able to see the individual or the animal that I'm working on. So I like to set up a video session like Zoom or whatever it might be. And then I see that person as I am. Just set up my table as normal, and I work as if the person were on the table in front of me. But theoretically, I wouldn't have to see you because I can just, it's all about thought, and it's all about my connecting with you. And so I don't have to have you right in front of me. I don't have to have that visual. I just personally like it.
Yeah, the personal touch I think is always better. And can you do this then on yourself? I mean, can you and then how would you do that when you're doing it to yourself?
Yeah, you can absolutely do it with yourself. I would say that when you work with a practitioner, you take it up a notch because, again, we have that theory of entrainment where that practitioner is going to have a higher vibration. But there is still a lot of benefit to doing it for yourself. And I'm always happy to teach people like some techniques that they can do at home on themselves. And it's very therapeutic.
Yeah, one thing when I did it is I noticed I did have some discomfort in the stomach area, some nausea, and okay, so you were touching my feet and that eased that. But if I'm doing it for myself, like how does that work? Because I can't very well reach my feet and touch my feet, I don't think, unless there's a certain position I need to be in. But just as an example, because I'm curious.
No, I'm happy to give you an example. So there's a chakra connection technique, and if you are able to sit on the floor, you can reach your feet, and you would start at your feet, and you would just hold your feet with your hands, and then you would move your hands up, and you touch your knees, and you would touch your hips. So you would just move your hands throughout your body, whatever you can reach. And if you can't reach something, that's okay. You just with your imagination and with your thought, you imagine that energy extending from your hand to that part of your body.
Very interesting. I really want to learn more about this because, if I can do something where I don't have to take medication, I'd much rather do that.
Of course.
So Are there any, and I can't imagine it, but are there any harmful side effects or anything harmful to doing either one of these?
No, absolutely not. The only thing I've ever heard is that you have to be careful when a woman is pregnant and she's very close to giving birth, because there
Oh,
are certain techniques that could stimulate contractions, which might be good if you're wanting to hurry up and have your baby.
yeah.
But other than that, no, there's no harm that can be done. And I think that's so reassuring to know that no matter what you do with somebody or what you do to yourself, you cannot screw it up. You
Yeah,
can't you can't mess yourself up.
yeah, and that's really something really good to know because like so many other medications that we do and take have so many other side effects that you wonder if it's really worth it sometimes. So
Exactly.
to have something you can do that,
Exactly.
like you say, other than if you're pregnant and want to, and there's a soup out there. They say that if you eat that soup before, then you'll have your delivery. So maybe this would be even better. I don't know. So I take it then you can use this for physical as well as emotional pain.
Yeah, oh, that's such a great question. Yes, you can. You can use it for, it works on four different levels. So it works on your physical level, it works on an emotional level, works on a mental level, and it works on a spiritual level. So it's certainly also something that you could do to deepen your spiritual practice. It's something that you can do for emotional issues, anxiety, depression, what have you, mental blocks that you have. Um, the energy if it is has its own intuition and its own flow. It knows where to go, so it knows where you need help, and it will go there.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
I know, it's so fascinating.
I know. I just really, like I said, unfortunately I don't know. I have so many more questions that people have actually submitted to me, but it's just very interesting and want to learn more and give this opportunity to others because, like I said, you gave me the opportunity to try it, and I don't know what I went in expecting, to be honest with you. I think because it was called, I think we looked at it as healing energy. I expected actually when I came out of it to be energized, like getting up and going and cleaning my whole house. And to be honest with you, that didn't happen. But what I got from it was so different. It was like I came out with a calmness, like a
Yes,
relaxation, like even like a sense of peace.
yes,
It was
yes,
it was very different. And like when you just did briefly when I was there, you put your hand, I think it was your right hand under my right neck, and your hand was ice cold. And I mean, it felt good, but it just started me because it was ice cold. And then almost at that same moment, I felt like a little something in my eye. I wasn't a pressure, and it was nothing painful, but I just had a feeling in my eye.
mm-hmm.
And then you moved to my left cheek and chin, but yet when you touched that, it was warmth. And in my ear, I felt like the pressure, like when you fly.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I had come in with some stomach issues going on, and you went down and you touched my feet, and then that went away. And I don't remember. I think I must have fallen asleep right at the point that time because I don't remember, touching the hips or anything like that. But I remember feeling when you went to my feet, feeling that. But something that I did notice too that I thought was really odd, and maybe I don't know if this is something maybe a lot of people do feel is I was comfortable in the room temperature,
Mm-hmm.
but my insides were shivering.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I thought, oh, that's kind. And I know when I felt the shiver, I mean, you kept telling me relax, but when I felt the shiver, I kind of like tensed up. And you would tell me to relax, and I would relax. But I was really surprised and trying to really pay attention to what I was feeling. But I felt warm. I mean, I felt comfortable, but my insides were shivering.
Which is very interesting. I have not personally heard that before,
Of course,
but yes, you're always different, Roberta, right?
that's right. And I got to be different.
Um, but it is very common to experience different things, and people. And what I really like to stress, though, is you don't have to feel anything for it to work. Like, there's no you don't have to have like a sign from God or something that this is working. But people often they feel tingling. So I don't know when you describe shivering, I haven't heard anyone say that it was a shivering like a cold shivering, but definitely tingling in the body is very common. And I typically feel a lot of tingling in my hands when I
Mm,
work with people. And to me, that's like the energy, right, flowing through my hands.
yeah.
And I've had people, I had someone when I was working, I think I was working on her head, and she asked me afterwards, she goes, did you like slap me a little bit on the thigh? And I was like, no. And she's like, it was so weird. She said, when you were working on my head, it's like I felt like a little tap on my thigh.
Mm.
And no, I mean, it wasn't me. So I don't know. Some people, believe in God. Some people don't. But some people believe in spirit guides, angels, right? Some people sense angels around them. I do believe in God. I am a Christian, and I pray before I do a session, and I always ask the angels to be with us and to protect us and to come down with their healing energy. So, yeah, I think anything is possible.
Yeah, I definitely know it was not a tingly feeling. It was an actual shiver, because I could even, like I said, feel myself, and then I would
Yeah.
want to tense up because I'm like, what's going on? And it wasn't bad at all. I mean, I never felt anything uncomfortable, or like I said, I know you did. I fell asleep, which surprised me because I wasn't tired,
Mm-hmm.
But I think I was just able to relax so much
Yes.
that I just let go. And,
Yeah.
it was, like I said, when I came out of it, or when we were finished, I was expecting a different type of energy feeling, I think, and that was just my interpretation.
Right. Right.
But I didn't go home and clean my house, but I was very relaxed, like I said, and it felt good. So it was a really nice session, and I really appreciate it. And I think I want to really look into more. But one thing that people have actually asked is, since you've been doing this, do you feel like you've become more sensitive to other people's energy fields as well?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes and no. I'm a pretty empathic person, so I've always been sensitive to people's energy in the sense that, and this is another good way to look at energy is, when you walk into like a room and people have been arguing and you just kind of feel something in the air, you're feeling that energy from that argument. And so I've always been really sensitive to that type of feeling, being very easily affected by other people's feelings and moods and the energy in the room. Um, so yes, and no, in that I don't necessarily like come near people and go, bang, whoops, I hit their energy field. Right? Some people are much more kinesthetically sensitive than I am. But we all have different gifts. I tend to have maybe more of a sense of knowing. But again, what I tell myself and what I tell other people is none of that really matters. What matters is that it's the work.
Yeah.
And I don't have to see, hear, feel anything for me to know that it's actually working.
So I don't necessarily have to come stand next to you, and then I'm going to feel all that energy, right?
Not necessarily.
It has to be more of a conscious effort, like, being with that person and doing what it is that you do.
Yeah, and I think, but you feel better around some people, I think, than you do around others. And I think that's energy too. Like, I have had people tell me throughout my life that I feel very calming to them. So I do believe that there is something to that, absolutely. And I know that like after sessions, like when I have a session, for example, another way that people often describe it, beyond being like calm and at peace, is people feel lighter. It's so hard to like think like, what do you mean lighter? Like, what does that mean? But it's like you feel almost like stuff has been lifted from you. And I think that's just a beautiful way to look at it. And there is a technique actually that that to some people gives them a lot more energy and you can use before you clean the house. But we could try that one day if you would like.
That might be a good idea. I can't early start on my spring cleaning, right?
Exactly.
So is there anything that you would like to, for one, how would somebody contact you if they're interested? And also, is there anything you would like to leave our audience with positive about this? Because I was really impressed. Like I said, I went in with an open mind, not knowing what to expect, but I really did come out of it with wanting people to try it, and I myself would go back and try it again, do it again.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah, well, okay, so to reach me if somebody's interested, my website is my last name. It's Garrepy.com. It's Garrep as in Peter, Y. You can also type in, I live in Newport Beach, so my website's also known as Jennifer Garrepy, Newport Beach Reiki Master. So you don't have to remember the whole Jennifer Garrepy, but if you type in Newport Beach Reiki Master, I believe I will come up. My number is 949-649-3240. And for those of you who don't know how to spell Reiki, which I completely understand, that is REIKI. And what I would want to leave people with is really just have an open mind and just try these things. Whether you come to me, you go to somebody else, you try something different. Just don't be so set in your ways that you're not open to other experiences.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think coming in with an open mind, just let it what happens happens, and it's a great way. Like I said, it did a lot of easement for me. So I would even really myself personally, I know we have to be careful and not want to put a lot out there, but because I did experience it, and I thank you for giving me that opportunity, so I could actually talk about it and understand that if somebody were to come to me, I would absolutely recommend that they give it a try. And we will also put your information out there on when we, have this on Facebook and the different media that we have as well. But I do want to thank you for spelling Reiki, because I was one of those people. So I greatly appreciate that. But thank you for coming today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
And again, like I said, I was just bombarded with questions and we didn't even get to half of them. So maybe we'll have to come back another time and really dive into some of these questions. But I do want to thank you. And today, we always dedicate each episode to somebody or something, but today I really want to just dedicate it to looking out, coming into an open mind and trying these different resources and these healing methods, because if we can do something and not have to use the medication where it puts us at a disadvantage sometimes, where we really can't enjoy our life or our day, this is a different way to look at it and different method maybe. I enjoyed it and I came out with a total different experience. So I hope people will give it a try and just dedicate today to having an open mind.
Love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. We hope you have an open mind to coming back each and every week as we try and openly discuss the various ways people live hope, find hope, inspiration, education for those living with pancreatic cancer specifically, sharing the real-life stories of those really affected and all the things they do to deal with it on a daily basis. And if you're dealing with something you need some help right now, there are, of course, patient services available. You can call the number 877-2-PANCAN. That's 877-2-PANCAN for the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. Others well out there, Hirschberg Foundation, others. Find some help in your vicinity and then share with them what you've learned so we can all learn from each other. Thanks so much for joining us for the OC Talk Radio Network. I'm Paul Roberts, inviting you to come back, thanking you for joining us, and hoping you'll tune into some of the other shows here as we stream live from the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.